Thank you everyone for being here. We're ready to call to order the special meeting of the Board of Education. Beth, would you go ahead and call the roll?
Mr. BOE?
Here.
Mrs. Gephardt? Here. Mr. Gousset?
Here.
Mrs. Matney? Here. And Ms. Wasmuth?
Here.
Great. Well, we have one thing on the agenda today, which is the masking resolution for COVID-19. What we're going to do here is I'm going to say a few remarks. I'm going to offer any of the other board members an opportunity to do brief opening remarks as well. And then have a time, if anyone would like to speak after that, we'd welcome that as well before we move into the actual resolution. So I just wanted to start out by saying 3 points. One is just acknowledging the great news that we've gotten recently. You know, over the last month, the rates for COVID have gone way down. They've gone down in America, in Ohio, in Franklin County, in Grandview, really to a level that's below what we've seen all school year. I mean, down to a level that we haven't seen since last summer, which is great. And it's not just the infection rates, but the hospitalization and ICU usage. And then we also have gotten some great news from the Centers for Disease Control last Friday that was talking about new direction, new guidance from the health experts that we have in the country, saying for counties that are at the rates where Franklin County is, and actually for the rest of Ohio, we're at the yellow level, that they no longer recommend indoor masking. So great news, I think cause for celebration. The second point I want to make is just how we got here and recognize the wonderful contributions that we've had. First and foremost from the students. I mean, they've been put through a lot over the last year, 2 years, and all the things that we've done with social distancing, with hand washing, with masking, with most importantly vaccinations. There's been a lot that's been done both for people to protect themselves, but also I think a lot of it out of concern for their fellow classmates, their teachers, their community, their parents, their grandparents, their younger siblings. Really all those things have helped us get to where we are, and I'm just really grateful for the sacrifices and contributions that people have made. And the third thing I want to say is just that I think we as a board have approached all this as trying to be flexible and changing course when needed to, when facts change on the ground. And I think we're seeing that, and we'll continue to do that. So we'll continue to monitor situation and act accordingly. But in my mind, personally, I've seen what I've seen, I've heard what I've heard, and believe it's time to act. So I would ask if there are any other board members who would like to give any other kind of statement at the beginning here.
Sure. I mean, I would like to, I'm not going to just go through and repeat everything Eric said, because I agree with all of it, and play my hand before we have our vote. But I'm excited for us to put this chapter behind us, hopefully permanently. Recognizing, though, that of course COVID is not done. It's not like it's magically disappears. So, there will be times where as a community we're going to have to support when there's a positive case in close contacts, where masking will still be a part of our lives, but hopefully in very, very limited capacity. And I hope we never have to see it again. But this community is like a family. We're so small. We see each other everywhere. We know each other. And so just like we had to walk through some rough times together, I'm looking forward to the time where we get to celebrate this together and move forward as a community and support each other and however we choose to go about things, starting tomorrow.
I have some comments. As the new kid, I thought we were actually making remarks, so I put some time into formal remarks. So just chalk it up to the new kid. So good afternoon, and thank you to everybody who's able to join us tonight. We do recognize that this meeting was rescheduled quickly from our original set time of March 3rd, but it was done with the ability to react to the new CDC guidelines in a timely and appropriate manner. In the conversations I've had over the weekend with families who have been the most vocal against having to wear masks in school in the first place, I've learned that we can agree on a few things. We hope that as we make the recommendation today, We want all families to talk with their children about respecting the rights of others, to either continue to wear a mask or to no longer do so. Our staff and administrators continue to go to great lengths to enforce the message of no bullying based on choice, and we also know that kids say what they hear at home. If we want our children to be respectful of others, then we need to do the same. COVID has taught all of us something. Personally, I've learned the importance of where I spend my time and energy. I've learned that vulnerability can be a strength and that my time is precious and life can be volatile, and so we should not waste it. As a community, it has taught me that as much as I love Grandview, COVID has shown some chinks in our armor, and that now is the time to set the example of how we work together as a community in a respectful manner. Because another obstacle is on the horizon, and we will once again be faced with the challenge of working together when we disagree. I hope that we behave in the way that we want our children to, that personal phone calls and one-on-one interactions are always more civil and respectful than taking our issues to social media, sharing our opinions behind a screen via email. That billboards can divide, and that conversation gives us a chance to actually hear each other and feel where each other is coming from. It's where we can empathize and hopefully realize that we have more in common than we thought we did. So I'm new to the board, and I commend the leadership that existed prior to my arrival that's been navigating this landscape much longer than I have, because they're the ones that have had to make the hard decisions. And as we start to come out of these COVID-19 protocols, I hope to play in a way that we see each other with dignity and that we act upon it.
Thank you, Katie.
Good job, new kid.
Kevin or Molly?
I don't have any comments at this time.
Great. Well, let me see. This will be time for public participation. We do welcome that at every meeting that we have. Time to come and speak. We do ask you to be respectful and speak no more than 5 minutes if you are interested. This is a chance to do a to say what you want, not to engage in the board in conversation. So we would not answer questions, but we would listen to what you're saying if you are so interested. And if anyone would like to have a separate conversation with a back and forth, you're welcome to arrange a meeting with Superintendent Culp or myself or the other members of the board. Is there anybody who would like to speak at this point? I'd ask that you please come and say your name and your address. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. My name is Dr. Jeremy Young. I live at 1190 Lincoln Road. I have a third grader and a kindergartner. And thankfully, much of my thunder has been stolen. I just wanted to, so I'm an infectious disease physician at Ohio State. Just wanted to lend my support to the resolution. Completely agree with it. And as board member Matney said, I do think that we should, obviously we have students who have younger siblings who have not yet been vaccinated. They may have some immunocompromised people in the home. So I think it's important that we allow voluntary masking and not stigmatize it. And I also want to throw out there, just not that I anticipate it, hopefully we're in the endemic phase of this, but if we do have another high peak, particularly of something like a Delta variant that's more deadly, that we may need to throw the mask back on temporarily. And then the last thing I'll say is thanks to all of you. We've been through a lot. And please, everyone, vaccinate your children.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your emails as well. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak tonight? Welcome.
Hi, board. Most of you are pretty familiar with me, Stephanie Wolfe. I just want to thank you for all your hard work over this last year. For many of you have, we've had phone calls and emails. Just to remind you, I'm the mother of 4 children. I have graduated them out of our district. I have a senior this year who has been accepted into some of the best music programs in the nation. I thank you for all the work and everything that goes into our children's education. I've also had foster care children in this district as well. By the time I'm done raising all my children, I will have been in the Grandview Heights School District with children for almost 30 years. So, Thank you for the resolution today. The only thing that I would like to really bring to the forefront, as many of you know, my children have witnessed, violent threats throughout this last week. They've witnessed bullying and harassing this last week. The staff has been extraordinary in helping me to handle some of those situations for the kids. But as a mother who has been in the district for a long time and having raised children and been through, all the years of development, I still have deep concerns about, having a resolution. So this is what I would like to see happen maybe in the next meeting. So I like it that we have a resolution that says that no person shall be subject to harassment, intimidation, or bullying for wearing or not wearing a mask. I like your emails, Mr. Culp, that have gone out. I would probably as a parent appreciate some languaging around the empathy and respect and some of the wording you've been used in your emails. I would also like to advocate, and many of you know that I've been on a middle school and high school level advocating that this be a district-wide educational initiative for our kids. Some of these conversations, it's great that we're suggesting happen in the home may not be happening in the home. And so I would really like to see that on a district-wide level, that this comes from the voice of the school of this is how we treat each other. We don't give each other medical advice. Children should not be giving other children medical advice, whether it's to take a mask on or put a mask on. These are the kind of things that I think would really help us. We've all watched as, our entire nation and even our community has been divided over this. And I say, and I take the stand, and I'm advocating that Grandview doesn't have to partake in that, and that we can all together, no matter where we stand on the issue and what's happening in our own personal households, that we can respectfully and with empathy walk through this with our kids together without doing more damage on the bullying and harassing level. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Come on up. Could you state your name and your address?
My name's Lola, and I'm 8 years old, and this is why I don't.
Well, we're glad you're here. It's pretty intimidating up here. You want to come up, Mom? And
Yeah, what's our address?
I don't know.
1349
1349.
Inglis.
English.
And why are you happy that you're not wearing a mask?
Mhm.
Why?
Because it's more easier. Because it's more easier. Because sometimes it's more easier because I kind of stutter without if I have a mask on, I might stutter without a mask. I don't. Thank you.
thanks so much. Thank you, Lola. Very brave of you to come up. Well, oh, I'm sorry. Come on up.
I have just one quick comment. Rick Kinsinger, 1097 Grandview Avenue. I wanted to say that I think the communications from superintendent and principals have always been really great about providing us numbers and explaining what the triggers would be.
Except for dates.
Well, that happens.
We could meet in March.
March, February, whatever. It's close enough, right? And I guess I just wanted to ask or suggest, and I assume you're probably doing this anyways, but that there be clear communication about a trigger that would go back to masks. I think if we've got that from the beginning, then when it hopefully it never happens, but if it does happen, then it will have been well explained ahead of time and we know it's coming, and whatever that trigger would be, I'm not sure what it would be, but that's my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Hi, welcome. State your
Hi.
name and address, please.
My name is Connor McCormick. I live at 1169 Wyandotte. I'm a senior this year at Grandview. I talked to you guys last time you had a meeting. But I just want to say I got a mask exemption at school, so I don't have to wear a mask at school anymore. And I just want to tell you guys that it has been kind of really awesome not to wear one. I know nobody likes school, but before COVID, school was kind of what it was. But then with the masks and kind of social distancing and everything, it made it really hard. But now that I'm not wearing one, again, it's I'm not gonna say I love school, but it's a lot better, and it's more. I feel better about it. All the staff have been super awesome about kind of not like pointing it out, and not like kind of making me feel bad about it. But I know a couple other students have gotten them, and I know they love them as well. So I just want to let you guys know that it's really good not to wear a mask anymore. So thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Before we move to the actual resolution, Andy, is there any other?
I think John.
I'm sorry. Come on up, welcome.
Apologies, I was late. Couldn't find the place, got the wrong date, all of the above. John Conlon, 797 Gladden Road. Again, I saw the initiative, pleased with that. Nobody loves masks. I definitely dislike masks. I have 2 children that have speech problems, and it's hard to understand your kids. Yeah, like we're experts at understanding our children, right? Like we hear them every day. We've known them our whole life. When they wear a mask, I can't understand them, and they're poor teachers. I mean, I don't know what that communication looks like. So I'm very pleased with this. Basically muzzling my children, like they can't communicate. It's hard to communicate when you're 7 years old. Wearing a mask makes it nearly impossible. I did want to discuss one more thing that I've asked Ms. Sullivan about. I feel like we're really missing something very important here that's not related to masks, and that's parents in school. Parents are a huge resource. I mean, what do we need in schools? Really good teachers, which we got, and parents that are involved. I'm a parent. This is me being involved right now. I want to read a book to my children's class. I want to do the cliche career day. I will even come in and make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at lunch so they don't have to have those horrible soy butter sandwiches anymore. I know that's nobody's fault, but I'm willing to come in and make that happen. So please let us parents back in the building so we can be the champions and that great resource to our children's education. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff, welcome.
Excuse me, Jeff Wall, 1130 Virginia Avenue. Lots can be said, but I'll keep it very brief. I want to just highlight a couple of things, and it all really keys off of grace, a word that Superintendent Culp used in his email. There's been a definite grace deficit 2 years in running. We all need to do our part to extend grace to one another at this time. I would submit to the board that mandates by definition lack grace. That any group of folks, no matter how well-intentioned, telling me I know better for your kid than you do, and stepping between me and my child, or my doctor, my child's doctor, and my child, that's not grace. That's something else. Well, I won't define it. And along with that, I think another element of grace is I have very strong views on this topic, and I have expressed those to all of you. But I've had to moderate myself all through COVID and say, but Jeff, what if you're wrong? Mandates don't allow the other, for the other guy's position. I think masks are great, and stop everything and are next door to salvation and godliness. You know, you can hold that opinion. But what if you're wrong? What if they turn out to do more harm than good? Or for some children, they do more harm than good. Going forward, we need grace, not just today, not just in the few weeks coming out of, what everybody's been soaking in for the last 2 years and the messaging they've been soaking in for the last 2 years. But on a longer term basis, we need grace. And I submit to you, mandates don't do that. And we have a growing body of science, and there should be an incredibly high burden of proof to show that these masks do something more than it's just a mask or it's not that big of a deal as the strongest argument for putting forced masks on kids. We need a high burden of proof, and we need more grace. And I really thank you for moving up the timetable and acting. Thank you.
Andy, is there any additional words that you would like to say?
No, I just appreciate the fact that we're here and that we're ready, I think, to take the next step.
Which I think brings us to a motion. Is there anyone who'd like to make a motion?
I'd like to make the motion to, what do I say, for our masking resolution, to vote on our masking resolution?
Is there a second?
Second.
Kevin,
Second.
moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion from the board on the COVID-19 masking resolution as written? Great. I think we're ready to call the roll. Beth?
Mr. Bodie?
Aye.
Mrs. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Gousset?
Aye.
Mrs. Matney?
Aye.
And Ms. Wasmith?
Aye.
Thank you all. Before we get to adjournment, I just want to thank everyone again for coming and for the very good dialogue that we've had. A lot of good information that has been shared with us. Makes me proud of being a member of the community of Grandview that we are able to have such things, and look forward to next steps and beating this whole COVID thing. I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
Ooh, so moved.
Second.
Beth?
Mr. Bodie?
Aye.
Mrs. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Gousset?
Aye.
Mrs. Matney?
Quick question. Do we have a date of when this is effective in here?
No, we don't have that.
Yeah, effective March 1st.
March
Yeah.
1st. So as of tomorrow, masks are optional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
effective March 1st.
Yep.
Aye.
And I'll be sending an email here in the next, hopefully, 5 minutes that summarizes this to the community.
Okay. Aye.
Okay, and Ms. Wasmith?
Aye.
All right, thank you. We're adjourned.